Alright, so today in the garage we're just going to be talking about setup. How to set up your dirt bike, suspension, tire pressure, handlebars, whatever. It's not a how-to. It is a how-to, but it's not like do that. It's just understanding how to set up your bike. So I should say that. It's an understanding how to set up your bike. So I got my notebook here, and before I go into my notes, about that. This is my notebook for every setting that I use. So this is my Kawasaki one. I had one for my Beta, and I will continue to do this. I'm almost full with this one, so once I fill this up, I will get another one. But we're using the back page here just for some notes here. Basically what I put in this is suspension, and like on a normal day, go ride, I use it for suspension settings. Say if like when I was trying out the seat bump, do I like the seat bump, do I not, where do I like it, that type of thing, just kind of some of that stuff. So everything that I have on this bike has been tested and put into this, so that's how you guys get the videos, and that's how I decide what I want in the videos. So just a little behind the scenes there. But like how to set up your dirt bike, we'll go over these 4 things: suspension, conditions, tire pressure, and comfort. So those are the things you have to take into consideration when you are setting up your dirt bike. Those are the 4 things that really matter. And I'm going to start with conditions, because it all depends on your conditions on what you want to do. Depends on your tire choice. It depends on if you want a 250, you want a 450. It depends, or even 125, 250, or 302 strokes, or any other bike that's in between 125s, 150s. I know they do stuff like that. Beta makes whatever, like whatever. A ton of different bikes. And I'm sorry, I'm freezing, so my hands are really cold. I don't have the heater in the garage today, so. So with conditions, it all depends. If you want to run a more aggressive tire, like a 14 MX14 or Pirelli 32 mid to soft, or an AT82, it's a little bit of an everything tire. A 53, which is a hard pack tire. Conditions just mean everything. So when you think about conditions, you want to break down like what discipline are you doing? Are you doing motocross? Are you doing off-road? Are you doing flat track? Which if you're doing flat track, I'm sure you're probably not watching this. Are you doing desert? Are you dual sporting? Just conditions is the one thing that I would recommend thinking about first. So in my circumstance, I'll talk about GNCC and motocross, a little bit of motocross, but GNCC, hare scramble, GP, enduro, that type of stuff. That's what I do. That's what I like. Conditions is usually some tracks have some loam, some silty stuff that builds up into a berm, kinda. We really don't have a ton of ruts. Yes, we have roots, we have rocks, but we have a lot of like chop. We have a lot of braking bumps, and we have a lot of acceleration bumps, and that's mainly what enduro is. So for enduro, you're going to need a different setup than motocross, and motocross is going to be stiffer and all that stuff. But that gets into suspension. So next, we will talk about suspension. It all depends, like I said, on your condition and what are you doing with your dirt bike. So me, like I said, enduro, hare scramble. My suspension setting is much softer than a motocross setting. If you ride a motocross bike in an off-road, you're going to be like, oh my god, I'm bouncing off everything, and the bike's not soaking up anything. Well, this softer setting will help that. One thing that I like to do when I set up my bike for off-road racing is I like to have like a slower rear shock. Now, you think, oh, well, the roots and stuff, you want that tire back to the ground. Well, I feel like if you have a shock that is really fast to come back out with the rebound, I feel like it's gonna unsettle the bike a little bit, going over rocks, going over roots, that type of thing. I'd rather have a back end that feels floaty as in like you go over something and it doesn't right back to the ground, because then it's controlled. If it goes right back to the ground, I feel like it's not as controlled. You might get a little upsetness in that chassis, and then it cause your front end to be, maybe it's that would cause your front end to be too it wouldn't be stiff enough, because you're like this and it kicks you and it makes that front end dive down. So that's like the rear shock. And I think most people, when they set up their bike, just adjust here. And I think what you have to do is take your setup and go, okay, yes, this is okay. This is okay. I feel some stuff here that I'd like to change, but maybe I can change it with the rear shock. Because sag heights, I did a video on my YouTube channel where I had a Honda, standing behind a Honda, talking about sag and all this other stuff, like where sag comes into play, and the rebound and the low speed and high speed on the rear shock. That might make a difference there that translates to up here better. So that's just a little tip for you. Maybe you don't want to adjust this so much, but you want to adjust this instead. Try the rear shock too. So like I said, motocross would be much stiffer, hare scramble, off-road much softer. And this goes back to the air conditions things. It all depends on condition as well. In a hard pack track, moto or off-road, doesn't matter, you might want your suspension to be a little bit softer. And then for a hard pack or a soft track, you would want your suspension to be stiffer. You'd want that to stick into the dirt and go right through it. You don't want to have that, like, it gets stuck and just like give you a dive feeling in that front end. So that's a little tip for that. Moving on, and I'm going to talk about a ton of stuff in this video about what you should do, not what you should do, but like how you should do it, if that makes sense. So we talked about suspension, talked about condition. I want to talk now about tires. Like I said earlier, it's condition, but it's more than that. It's what you feel comfortable with. So most of the year I was running this tire here, which is an AT82. For some of the year I ran it on my beta, and I ran a MX-14 a lot, which is a really aggressive sand mud tire. Honestly, I almost like running the MX-14 more than I like running this tire. Even in hard pack conditions, I like running that MX-14 because I just feel like you get such a drive out of stuff. There are some tracks where I'd rather have this, or even like a half gummy tire, like a EN91EX, something like that. Like in Republic, where it's really rocky, or in Mendota, the indoor track where it's super hard packed. Like I wouldn't run a 14 there. Like it just gets so blue grooved. Like you would want something that has a little bit more give. Like honestly, there you could probably run a 53, and that would be amazing there, I would think. So with tires, there's a couple different options. Something that I started doing because of flats was I run a rear Nitro Moose. This tire does not have one. This tire is a tube because I'm going indoor, and my tire with a Nitro Moose is over there. It's also an AT82. A Nitro Moose is basically like you will never get a flat. It's like a foam inner tube, and then the rim lock keeps the tire on. It's great. It's super useful. I mean, you can hit whatever you want, and it just doesn't go flat. The reason why I like that is because, like I said, no flats. I only run the rear tire because I feel like with my front tire, I'm more likely to wheelie over something, and it doesn't have as much weight on it. Like if I'm standing here, the front tire is more out that way, then the rear tire is more underneath me. So the rear tire has more weight on it, and it's the traction tire, it's the drive tire, so it has a lot more friction that's going through it. So obviously there's gonna be a lot more wear on that. And that's why I believe that I feel like it's only necessary to have a rear moose unless you're some super pro that hits things way faster than any local guy or whatever. So I feel like that's a really good thing to have is a nitro moose. If you're going to go with tire pressure, with tubes and have tire pressure, I like running 11.5. Now, a lot of people would say that's a little soft, which it is. Some people run 13, some people run 15, which is a lot of pressure in that tire. 11.5 is a little on the lower side. But if it's a new tire, your tire can handle that. As your tire progresses and you put more time on it, you might want to put some more pressure in there, like 12 or maybe 13 at the high end, because it breaks down over time. But 11.5 is really good for comfort and it's really good for traction. That's two things that matter with your tires. It's comfort and traction. Does your tire like bounce off something? Or does it soak it up? And there's a difference there that you can feel. It's not just your suspension, because suspensions think of big movements. The tire would be more of like if there's a, say you're in a rut, and this is my example. Say there's a rut and there's a rock in the rut, and you're practicing whatever. You're like, I'm not gonna get off my bike and move that right now. That's okay, and you just keep hitting this rock. You're probably not going fast enough for your suspension to fully take that full hit. Usually it will be just your tire that hits it, and is it kind of sliding off of it? Is it bouncing off of it? You know, that's that type of thing you want to think about. And then the traction side of it is that tire is going to fold when you go around corners or straightaway, whatever it is, over obstacles. It's going to fold, it's going to shorten, it's going to widen. And that's that thing is like, do you have enough comfort in that tire? And that's something to think about as well. And speaking of comfort, riding your dirt bike fast, all these things matter, but it all comes into one with comfort. Your suspension setting, the conditions, the tire pressure, you like a seat bump, you like the bars in a certain way, that all goes into comfort. And that's what we're talking about. So bars, pegs, levers, foot controls, as in like rear brakes or shifters, or like whether or not you like the engine a certain way, or like me, like I run my starter on this side and my kill switch on this side. That's backwards to what other people do. Do you like hand guards? Like, it's all comfort. So like going off of that, it's okay if you're comfortable. Don't let anyone be like, you have that in the wrong spot. It might look funky, it might work, it might not work, but it's okay to try things. Don't let anyone tell you that it looks dumb, so it's dumb. Like me, I run my shifter pretty high. Like I run it probably a spline up compared to most people, but that's because I like to get my foot under it easier, because I know that I'm going to be able to shift down fine. I like to be able to shift up better. Same thing with my rear brake. It's a little higher than most people would think. But that's because I like it to be even and have the same feeling as my shifter. This right here, the seat bump, this corner coach. I'm not sponsored by them at all, but I think it's a great product. Like if I'm not feeling like I need it, I can take it off. But if I feel like I need it, I can put it back on. So that right there is a great product. I also can move it. Say if I'm running at a sand track and I'm like, well, I want to be off the back of the bike a little bit more, but I still want that pressure on my butt to keep me forward. I mean, you can move it back here if you wanted, instead of right here. Or if you're at a hard pack track, I mean, you can move it up more. You know, whatever you wanted to do. So that's something that's just comfort. And like for me, handguards. Like I'll run handguards in moto races, in the indoor race, because it's what I'm used to. Like I'm not going to completely change everything, because like I'm not going to change my setup, like other than suspension, if it's what I'm used to. I'm going to keep my handguards on there. I'm going to keep my engine the same way, unless I test and it's different. Like unless I test something and I feel like it works better. So like say that's another thing about comfort, like your way your engine is and the way you want your bike to ride is, I didn't want to dive in my front end when I get off the gas. So I use the idle and I turn up the idle just a hair, and then on the KX Rideology app you can make sure that you're not over the limit. But I like that to where it doesn't dive down when I let off the gas, because it doesn't have such a shut off. And that's something that like you can change too. So if you're not comfortable in a certain way, you can change it. Like I think that's something that a lot of guys are like, well, I don't really know what to do. Well, you can change anything on a motorcycle. You can change your tire, you can change your bars, you can change whatever. So I think that's important. And like the little things like this, like I had a race at Ironman where I was on the starting line, and I'm a little worried, and I'm like, oh, this throttle is a little too much play in it, and I'm like, I gotta tighten that. But I had been comfortable and I'd been riding with it like this, and I tightened it, and I was like getting arm pump, and I was coming out of corners on like almost whiskey throttling, like it was bad. And then I'm like, thinking back, I'm like, that's why the bike was like unrideable, because it was so tight, and I would hit like a bump or something, and my wrist would jostle a little bit, and it would be like rap, rap, rap. Like it's just a ton of things that you can change. I want to go back to just a quick little thing here. I want to go back to suspension. And I know I talked a lot about that, but I think it's important because it's the one that people look to most. And I want to say, like, there are other ways to get comfort out of a motorcycle than just suspension. Like, there's engine mounts, there's engine mounts, like I said, there's tire pressure, there's nitro mousse, there's a ton of different things you can do on your motorcycle to do instead of suspension. But if you do feel like suspension is the way to go, I'd suggest getting your suspension done. I get my stuff done by Factory Connection. It's awesome. I think it's the best company out there. I feel like it's the best. But I like I said, I try to work on the rear shock, not just the front forks. But I wanted to talk about usage of your fork and shock in travel. So I don't know if you can see it necessarily. I don't think you're gonna be able to see it, but on my fork there is a little like rubber piece that goes around the fork tube, and it basically is just to determine how much of your fork are you using. Oh, I think I put it all the way back up. That's why you never be able to see it. But basically, your shock goes down, it pushes that down, and it sees how much you're using. How much travel are you using? And that is a great tell if your fork is too soft, too stiff. If, like, that's a great tell as a general direction, because some people misinterpret a feeling. So sometimes they'll be like, my fork is so stiff, but the O-ring will be at the bottom of the fork, just in a general ride or in a section. Say you're not full bottoming out, but you're like, oh, my fork's so stiff. And that might be a setting that's in there, as in like valves and springs and all that stuff. But it could be just the fork is so low in its stroke that you're getting that like bottom feeling, that bottom valve that's in there that's gonna be the stiffest one. So I would think first, like, how much travel am I using? Where's my sag at? And what is it like? You can ask someone like, hey, does my rear end look low, like when I go through that section, or am I coming through like this? Or watch a video of yourself. Those are big tells of how to set up suspension. And there's always things that you can like different than others. Like, I like my forks a little stiffer than most, because like I said, I don't like that dive feeling. I like my bike to move from the rear end. So like there's a ton of things, and I like my rear end high. I like it a little, not choppered out, like the opposite. I like a little stink bug in there, because I feel like if it has that, then that got weight on my front tire, and I just turn so well. And that's one thing that these Kawasaki's are good at anyway, is just turning. So I like to enhance that feeling. So that's a bunch of different ways to set up your dirt bike. If you have questions, email me. I get emails sometimes, but email me if you have questions. At the beginning of this video, I'm going to put my email across the front because I want you to email me. I set up a couple people's bikes sometimes, like, hey, I think you should do this, or hey, I think this would help. And I've gotten some people that have like had good success with that. So if you do feel like, hey, I'm struggling with this feeling, I might be able to direct you. I'm not going to say I'm going to solve your problem. I'd be able to direct you to solving that problem. So I'm going to put my email up there. Please email me. And I just want to say, at the end of this also is for 2026, I'm in the works with some local sponsors, and I'm not going to drop them right now because I don't have like full like proof of everything and full done. But I just want to say thank you for everyone for reaching out, and I'm super grateful for that. And I'm so excited for 2026, and I'm excited with my sponsors that are staying with me as well. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. See you later. Bye.